Welcome into Arsenal Report, and Arsenal are pursuing a free transfer for Leroy Sane, which we call it a free transfer, but we're talking about £5 million signing bonus at the very least. We're talking about $250K per week wages, probably at the very least. This is a $16 million a year, £16 million a year transfer fee. So it's not nothing. But listen, I like Leroy Sane. He obviously has done it at the highest level in the Premier League. He's done it at the highest level in the Bundesliga over the last 9 years. He's been one of the best players in the world in his position. Listen, he's maybe inched towards world class, but he's been serviceable and scored in goals and assists and useful in every competition in the world. Would he be spectacular rotation for Bukayo Saka next season at the right wings position? Yes. He'd be the best rotation piece we've had for Saka since Saka has emerged as one of the best right wingers in the world. But it can't be the marquee winger signing that we're talking about. This isn't a player who's coming in and challenging Gabriel Martinelli for his position, challenging Leo Trossard for his position, who's pushing Saka further, who's truly someone we can... It's not a matter of reliance, but are we able to play to the same level with Leroy Sane on the pitch? No. Are we able to take it up a level by adding Leroy Sane? I don't believe so. So Leroy Sane, yes, is an incredibly interesting signing. A free transfer. I like the move. You don't put out a 5-year deal. You're talking about a 3 or 4 year deal, maybe a 3-in-1 deal, where he probably doesn't gain any value. You're not recouping any of the fee you're paying for him, but you're adding a player who has experience at the highest level and who can allow Saka to not play 4,000 minutes next season. That's the key to Leroy Sane, but we can't have it be our only signing. It does seem to be one we're really pushing forward on it. I expect this deal to get over the line if Arteta signs off on it. It's definitely one that the player's interested in. He's been offered to us, and we're talking to him currently. That's from my sources at the club. So let's just see where that goes, but definitely one to keep an eye on. And it appears that the reports are coming out, and it's interesting because Andrea Berta really uses the media to help drive his agenda, which I think is a really smart tactic in a lot of ways because Arsenal are back in the race for Victor Gyökeres. What does that really mean? What it means is you don't want RB Leipzig to understand that Sesko is the only player we're interested in at striker because that just drives his price up. If Leipzig thinks, okay, if they drive the price too high, we're going to go get Gyökeres, and we're the main club interested in Sesko with the most money to spend, then they're going to bring that price back down. So you don't tell Leipzig we're only interested in Sesko because then that price creeps up to the £80 million mark. When you're saying, okay, we'll take Gyökeres for 60, if you're going to go that high, then Sesko is probably more like 65. So Sesko will still be a little bit more expensive than Victor Gyökeres, but he's still the number one option for sure. But I do think in the back of Arteta and Berta's head is, listen, we like Gyökeres. We like Ollie Watkins as well. We are not going to overpay for Sesko. We want Sesko. He's a top priority, but sometimes the market doesn't allow it. And I don't think Sesko is like a Isak where it's you cannot miss this player. You need to have this player. We want this player, but there are other options out there. And I certainly will continue to say that Ollie Watkins should still be in our list. It's not a forgotten name for us. I mean, this is a player who has the third most goals and assists over the last 3 seasons in the Premier League, only behind Mo Salah and Erling Haaland. So pretty good company there. Yes, he's 29 years old. But for £40 million, you get 2, maybe 3 more amazing years from him. You win 1 Premier League and 1 other trophy because you signed Ollie Watkins. Who cares if you don't recoup his transfer fee, right? At this point, we've moved past the needing to bring back transfer fees. We need to win a trophy. That's the number one priority. And Ollie Watkins brings us closer to winning a trophy. So I'd expect him to not leave this striker conversation at any point, and I do think he'll be offered to us again this summer as Unai Emery and Monchi and Aston Villa have to figure out their own PSR issues after failing to qualify for the Champions League. And the biggest disappointment and issue looming for Arsenal fans is, as of right now, Arsenal's plan is just 2 attackers, Leroy Sane and a striker. That is the plan as of today. Should that change? I hope so. Do I think it will change? I do think so. But as of right now, unless we sell Martinelli or Leandro Trossard, I've been told by reliable sources that we will not sign a third attacker this summer. We will just sign Sane and a striker. We obviously have likely, hopefully, as you see next talking about, Martin Zubimendi coming. We do need to sign a second goalkeeper, and we'll sign a defender. If we do not sell Gabriel Martinelli or Leandro Trossard, there is a strong feeling that we won't sign a third attacker. Now, does that mean we wait till Gabriel Jesus comes back And hopefully we sell one of those 3 attackers, Martinelli, Trossard, or Jesus, in January to fund a 3rd attacker for the second half of the season. Maybe. Does it mean you get Sane and Sesko isn't as expensive as you thought, or you get Sane and Watkins ends up being the striker you get who's 25 million pounds less and there's more to spend? Maybe. Does Rodrigo become really available on the market, pushing his way out and become more affordable, and that changes the way we look at transfers this summer? Definitely, maybe. Like, I'm not saying right now that we will not sign a 3rd attacker, but what I can tell you for sure is as of right now, the plan is Sane and a striker. Hopefully that will change for Arsenal fans. And the Martin Zubimendi transfer has been delayed due to a few reasons. Number one, Real Sociedad wants to report this sale on the books for next fiscal year. So that means July 1 is the earliest they can sell. There's also been a report that Zubimendi is still waiting to see if Real Madrid might call. I don't believe those reports. I think that's a poorly translated interview that he gave. When it's translated to English, it does not mean exactly what he meant. Martin Zubimendi will be an Arsenal player. I'm 99.99% sure. Something crazy would have to happen, like an injury during his national team call-up or something even wilder. But the bigger issue to me here is Arsenal getting raked over the coals yet again with Martin Zubimendi, where we have agreed the deal. The player's done part of his medical. He's ready to come to Arsenal, and we have to wait for him until basically preseason starts to get him in the building. If you look at our last couple of years, when we have gotten transfers in the door early, they have hit the ground running with Arsenal. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, both players up and running early. If you look at the players who came in late in transfer windows, they all struggled to make the impact they wanted to make immediately. Look at Mikel Merino last year. Came in right at the end of the transfer window, got hurt in his first training session. It took him 6 months to get up to speed. We don't have 6 months. We need to come out like we did in 22-23 and be dominant in the early stages of the Premier League season. And we need Martin Zubimendi to be ready to play immediately. So this is Arsenal yet again, just not, you don't see things like this happen to Manchester City and Chelsea. They get deals done and the player's in the door the next day. Look at this Tijani Reinders deal. It's done. It's over. It's coming. Here we go. He'll be in the building in a week. He'll be at the Club World Cup. Even Real Madrid, they're paying for a free transfer to bring him in the building because they want him in the building earlier. Arsenal are so penny pinching and have no authority that we continue to get raked over the coals in these transfer windows. I really hope this will change with Andrea Berta, but this is not the most promising sign of that right off the rip here. But thanks for watching Arsenal Report. We're doing daily videos on all the transfer analysis, transfer rumors, my inside sources at the club, and what to come this summer and next year for the season. Hit that subscribe button right down here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.